blanket feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? It has been one of those days. One of those days. I mean, I can't begin to tell you what has happened in like the last 3 hours. I was supposed to be here like an hour ago, and it's just, I don't know. You know, one of those days where you just can't win? That is very much today. Today's one of those days where I can't win at anything. It's just, oh my God. It's just nothing went right today. Um, got some updates, got some Nancy Guthrie updates, got some Chris, 85-year-old Chris from Sydney updates. Also, we're going to talk about Mexico and what the hell is going on there because I have been reading and speaking to people who are in different places, Guadalajara, some other is it PV, few other places, and they are. I don't think they know what's going on really, especially a lot of the tourists. A lot of the tourists seem like they are in dire straits. They're just like we're stuck. Cartel is everywhere, and yeah, it just is going down in Mexico. Apparently, they killed one of the big drug lords. So he's well known. Um, he'd been terrorizing the city, plus um, sort of upsetting everyone for a number of years. All right, hold on. Let me get set up. Let me get set up. Hey, good to see you guys. The camera works. Good to see you. Yeah, stuck with like no food, no water. They can't get out. Some of the like convenience stores have been like burnt down, so you can't even like buy food or there's no restaurants open. So there's like a lot of people who are sort of stuck. They're sort of stuck until this all dies down, things reopen. Um, yeah. So it's been pretty messy over there. By the way, the war against YouTubers covering the Nancy Guthrie case. Now today, our friends at The Guardian have jumped in. Amateur YouTube detectives' constant streams put cases in jeopardy. No, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Um, I just don't really get why it's okay for I don't know, CBS 5, I don't Fox 10. It's okay for them to be there and be running their cameras, but it's if a streamer does it but does it with a live stream, oh my god, you are going to ruin cases. You're going to ruin cases. You're going to ruin them because you're doing exactly what we're doing. How dare you? How dare you not be employed by a traditional media outlet? It is it's hypocrisy at its finest. And these newspapers, TV stations that are sort of jumping on the bandwagon they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. It's okay when they do it. Guardian has, well, they do live streams. They also do like podcasts at the end of the day for different trials and this and that. What education do you have in trials? Um, not much. I'm sure there's maybe someone there that did it at uni, but a lot of them got the education the same way we did. What do you know about crime scenes? I'm sure you maybe not. You don't know what like we may know more than you do because we do it every day. Lisbeth said, I mean, JLR's live streams show how everyone else is there too. So what the hell are they talking about? It's this, hey, let's close ranks and let's all huddle together because we're traditional old school news agencies. Let's just like pretend like we're the only professionals in the world and we're so elite that no one else can do our job. You know, our advertisers will be very upset if we don't get all the views. How is that really any different to how YouTube or TikTok or anything like that works? It's not really. We work on views and advertising as well. We have to sell advertising slots through YouTube into our videos. Media works pretty similar. The only difference is they have a viewership that, depending on which platform, may pay for the access as well. So it's got to stop. It's ridiculous. I'd love to know how you think it's putting the case in jeopardy when, you know, the example I've seen used a lot is the SWAT that happened like a couple of Fridays ago. And they're like, oh my God, all the YouTubers were down at at the SWAT thing. So were the mainstream news. So why someone's got to explain to me, why is it okay for them to do it? Do you have some sort of magical pass that the government gave you that says, oh, only you are allowed to report on something? I don't remember seeing where you can apply for these things. I don't remember seeing where these are available. Um, did someone tap you on the shoulder with a sword and say, you are now worthy of reporting news like the Queen and the King? Did they knight you? Did they turn you into a journalist? They're like, you are now a journalist, you may put that in front of your name. No, I don't think so. So I just think it's hypocrisy at its finest, and it should stop. The people that are doing it now, it's just like, why did this? Who I don't know who Elena is. Uh, why did her article come out 10 days after they already started laying the boot in on this? She's almost like, oh my god, we didn't do an article bashing the YouTubers. We should do it right now. Oh my god, if we don't do it, what will the other media agencies think of us? What will they think of us? We won't be allowed to go to the Christmas party. Um, it's got to stop. It's ridiculous. And there's multitudes of YouTube channels and people that have done way better coverage than these people have done. You know, I appreciate their art form and like they can write articles and things like that. I couldn't write an article if you paid me $1 million. I have no idea how to do it. And that is a skill that they have. The skill that we have is this. This is what we do. This is our medium, and it's the way we do it. I don't see a big difference really. One is speaking, one is the written word. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to stop. I think they're all in on it and they're still bitching about the pizza being delivered. They're like, someone got a pizza delivered. I guarantee you, if you polled all the news agencies that were there, I reckon you could find other people who had food delivered to that street in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. I guarantee you there were other media who had food delivered, whether it was DoorDash or Uber Eats or who knows, from a local cafe or something. I guarantee you there were other people that got food delivered. Yeah, I know. So he didn't even do it. It was someone else. And they're just like, look at the look at the bad example. Look how they're ruining crime scenes. It's just ridiculous. It is the media. You know, they talk about fake news. This is fake news. I mean, you know, look, say what you want about JLR. I've never pretended that I'm best friends with JLR or that we get along or that I support what he does or whatever. It could be a little bit of all, it could be none, it could be some and not the other. But to, you know, do a whole article on him and be like, he spent time in jail for wire fraud. He made some mistakes. Like, I think his history is well known. His history, the crimes that he did, the sort of stuff that he did before he got into true crime is well known. Everyone knows about it. Impersonation, wire fraud. I don't know. There's a few others. I think it's pretty well known. I don't know, just judge him on what he's doing now, and I don't think he's, the only one. Dolly Vision's there, um, uh, who else is there? I know Popcorn's there. There's a few others that are live on the thing. Actually, last week they had, I can't remember the full name of the popcorn one, but they had that guy, on a news channel, and they were interviewing him, and they were like, "So, why does JLR suck? Why is he shit and you're so good?" And they were trying to, like, develop this rift between different YouTubers, and they were sort of egging this guy on, and he didn't take the bait. He just sort of went, "Oh, there's some people who don't do the right thing," and that's true. There are people who don't do the right thing, and he sort of played it very Switzerland. Um, but yeah, they've been trying to sort of get this rift going. Rachel said Dolly left after he misreported. Yeah, I heard about that. He said something about he said someone was shot in the head or something. It ended up being someone got hit by a car. It was a hit and run, and he misreported it, saying it was related to the Nancy Guthrie SWAT raid. It's not a it's not a great look. You got to own it, and I'm sure Dolly probably will. Danny said exactly. Oh, guys, who's ringing me? Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, it is Mrs. Ping. She's asking me what I want for dinner. Emma says, "Play it like Switzerland." What does it mean, Ping? I just meant he's trying to be non-confrontational. Yeah, it was Mrs. Ping. Yeah, she was asking what I wanted for dinner. Yeah, Switzerland is neutral, doesn't take sides. Lisbeth said, "So the only one who's messing with the crime scene is actually the one who should protect it, the sheriff." I mean, you could the things I've heard about misinformation, the crime scene, and that I feel like it backdates or predates anything the live streamers did. The sheriff released the crime scene too early. The misinformation, a lot of it came from the sheriff speaking off the cuff and not solidifying his words properly, like not being final, really tight with his wording. And a lot of the misinformation, especially early on, came from him. So I find that interesting that apparently it is all the YouTubers' fault. All of them. It's all the YouTubers' fault. But look, I don't think it is, and I think the media digging in like this is pretty shit. I just uh, you know I just feel like do better, be better. Um, be like the first lady. What does she say? Like be better or whatever. Um, the is there no they talk about professionalism in these articles. Is it professional to tear other people down? Would you do this to the guy that works at Channel 10? I'd love to see you do this to Justin Lum. I'd love to see you write an article like this about Justin Lum and tearing him down for, I don't know, what is it? How many paragraphs? About 12 paragraphs or something. I'd love to see you do that, but you wouldn't, right? They wouldn't because they protect their own. So there you go. I think that's it's really sad, reeks of desperation, and it actually says to me that it's giving insecure because they see all the views and like I'll give you an example. I was watching ABC 15 in Arizona. They had this panel. They had like two reporters. They had, like, all these guests, like a DNA guy and, like, someone who does, like was an ex-sheriff or something. Do you know how many views and viewers they got on it? 20 views, and, like, the viewers at the time were 2. 2. That's what it is. It's jealousy. The fact that they see these, live streamers getting all these massive views, and they're just like, "Well, why aren't we getting that?" If they weren't around, we would get those views. That would be us. Look how popular we would be. And I think it's a great demonstration. Yeah, they got like nothing. It was like no one was in the chat. There was no one there talking about the case, and it was funny. They're on the live stream. They're like, "We're going to go to the chat. Someone's going to be asking questions. We're going to take some questions from the chat." There's like no one in the chat. There's no one asking questions. There's no one watching. And, I think that's it's an indictment of, like, what's going on here. Rachel said, "I they think they own the news." Yeah, they do. It's ridiculous. Bengal says, "The ship has sailed. That's why Banfield and Kelly have their own channels." Brian Enton too. They've all branched out because they realize if they stay with a national news program, they're never like that has a ceiling. It has a ceiling. You can't go any further, right? You're just gonna be a presenter. It's got a cap on it. But if you become a YouTuber, you have freedom. You can follow the cases that you want to follow. You don't have to take it from a producer or an editor. You can just do whatever you want each day. And that is the luxury of doing what we do. And now you're starting to see these big names come onto YouTube and try bring their followers from their old job. Yeah, Brian Enton's a good one. Banfield, Megan Kelly's another. So so if it's good enough for them, like that's the thing I would ask this person or anyone else who makes an article like this. Do you differentiate between JLR and Banfield, Kelly, and Enton? And if you do, why? Because they're basically doing the same thing. And if you can't demonstrate and support your own argument with that, then you have serious issues. And it just goes back to everything I said before. So, Dragon said legacy media will lose a huge percentage of the market over the next 5 years, so their struggle is pointless. Most people don't even watch the 5 o'clock news anymore. The only people who do are our older generation. Some of them still watch like the 5 o'clock news. Um, but the young generations, like my generation and under, um, they don't watch it. They don't watch the 10 o'clock news, or they don't want articles that had come out 9 hours ago. They want the information that is available right now, not 5 hours ago, not a rehash of the 5 o'clock news. They want new information that came out at 10 p.m. They want the brand new stuff and they want it instantly. And that's how news has changed over the last like 10, 20 years. It's now like on demand. It's not like, oh, we're going to hold this story till 9 p.m. No, you can't do that anymore. You have to run with it. Elizabeth said, I haven't watched the news for years. The only reason I watch it is to get you guys clips. Sometimes I need like a visual of something, and that's the only reason I ever use it. And to do research if I need something or it's in an area where I can't get to. I'll do it like that. All right, Nancy Guthrie, let's stop bitching about the mainstream media. You know, the other day it was a bloody glove, and today it's a backpack. I don't know what all of you think about this, all these items that are starting to pop up, but you have to wonder these search efforts that happened over the last few weeks, how come these items were not found? And that's something I would like to know. And I'm trying to see here. Here, where's the quote that I want? Nope, that's not what I want. Nope, we know about the DNA. Recognize, yeah, the backpack. It was a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker backpack. We already know all about that. Let's see. I'm trying to find the quote. We had a quote. Super professional, Ping. You just went on about being professional and then you screwed it up. Good work, Ping. Um, but they're saying backpack discovered as search for Nancy Guthrie enters day 22. That was earlier today. I'm just trying to load this for us. What is going on with our links? I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Our links are like not working properly. Guys, give me a sec. I'm gonna have to jump out and maybe jump back in. Hold on. Okay. No, we can't load it. It's not loading. We're having some problem with StreamYard. That's very annoying. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, look, well, they found that bloody glove. No comment from the sheriff. The sheriff was basically saying they've found a lot of different things. They found a lot of different gloves. They've tested a lot of different things, and they are continuing to test it. All right. Hopefully, this comes good in a minute. It's just really slow. It's not flicking to the next thing. Um, Oh, yeah, on February 20 here we go. On February 22nd, um, an independent volunteer group, including members, recovered a backpack near a roadside or tunnel a few miles from Nancy's home. And that is very interesting to me. They're saying initial reports suggest the backpack found by volunteers does not appear to be the same Ozark Trail model seen in the surveillance video, and that it is a possibility it could be a type of backpack called a Swiss Gear 1900 model. Let's have a look at that because what is the difference? I'm sure they look fairly different. All right, Swiss 1900. I mean, backpacks, they're very subtle. Like a lot of the different stylings and flares that they have on it can be quite subtle. Yeah. So there you go. That is that one that they're talking about. Swiss Gear 1900. I don't know. Do you think it looks similar? I think we were all pretty sure about that Ozark Trail. All right, let me try and get you a photo of the Ozark Trail and then we'll do side to side. That's not the greatest clarity, but yeah, I guess they don't really look that similar, do they? I mean, there, there's that one. That's the one they reckon they may have found today. No confirmation on that, but a possibility. And then that Ozark Trail, it's very subtle. Like they're just black backpacks. It's very difficult to be like, oh, they're so different. You'd have to really look at the minor styling points. There's a better photo of it. There's the Ozark Trail one. I mean, they're not that similar. This one's more, the other one's more tapered towards the top here. It's not as wide, and it sort of comes not to a point, but just more like a tapered. It's more narrow as you go up that backpack, and it's slanted towards the back of the backpack. The other one's not slanted. The other one's like more like a full backpack. See, it doesn't slant towards the back straps here, as where the other one did. It sort of molded towards that back area. So not really that similar. I'm guessing it's pretty easy to tell at least these two examples apart. Yeah, I that's what I would have thought too. There's so many people that are travelers, or they are homeless or something. They get supplies given to them by organizations, things like that. There's probably a billion backpacks in Arizona. There's probably 100,000 that have been dumped somewhere. Betsy said, I feel like the blatant lack of interest in the beginning, releasing the crime scene, and the game show like presses, no wonder no one has found her. It's concerning to me that this is week 4 and we don't really know that much more compared to week 1. Yeah, we have a photo of the suspect on the Nest door cam, but we don't have too much more than that. That's about all the public knows. Gayla said the people said they knew it wasn't the one from the news, but reported it just in case. Better safe than sorry, because if you remember, there was a video that came out, didn't end up being the suspect, but the guy had 2 backpacks. Who knows? Maybe the guy who broke in had a second backpack. Maybe he had one inside of the other backpack. You never know. You never know. Kelly said, and one of the big colleges are down there. There is the big, what is it, AZU? That's a big one. Gayla said FBI got that, not the sheriff. Ah, okay. Warner Steele said the sheriff's department has been totally irresponsible. Yeah, it's it's not a good look. By the way, we've been talking for like the last week about Nancy Guthrie, but also the comparisons to the 85-year-old man who was kidnapped in Sydney. That man, they raided a house last week and he wasn't there. They do believe he had been at that property. Today, I do have a bit of an update. It's not much of an update, but I'll tell you about it. I think he's dead. I think they believe the kidnappers killed him because they have not been looking for a home anymore. They're no longer looking for a place that he might be being kept. They started looking in bushland today, like scouring dirt and leaves and trees and wilderness and forest. And that tells me that maybe did they find something in that home, the home they raided, to say to them that there's no point looking for him as a hostage anymore, because that's a pretty big jump, right? They went from trying to rescue him, raiding a property to try get him back, to now searching bushland, and that tells me that they are looking for a cadaver. At least that's what I think. I just have a funny feeling. Let's go. Yeah, I'll take you out to this one just briefly, and then we'll go to Nancy. There was an update just a couple of hours ago from the ABC News.
Andrew Marks, Detective Chief Inspector, Acting Commander of the Robbery and Serious Crime Squad. Thank you for coming this morning. It's just an update in relation to the investigation of Mr. Chris Bagzarian, who was taken from his family home at 5 a.m. on Friday, the 13th of February. You all received a media briefing or an update yesterday in relation to a grey Corolla, Victorian registration plate with 1UZ2BU, which was stolen from Victoria, or at least was reported stolen on the 13th of February. We're not exactly sure when it was stolen. What I can say to you is that that vehicle, we now believe, was displaying clone number plates DVT 077. Again, Victorian number plates that were cloned. We're able to say that that vehicle was placed in Good Street on Saturday, the 14th of February. It was not burnt out until 11:30 p.m. on Monday, the 16th of February. What we're asking for members of the public in that area of Good Street, Westmead, do you have any footage or any dash cam footage of the grey Corolla in that area, and any other persons attached to a car or anything suspicious around that vehicle? I can also advise that we have some forensic links from that car. That vehicle was not burnt out totally, and we're able to establish some forensic links from items inside that car that we can link back to Dural, the property in Dural, and also to Mr. Bagzarian. You're also aware that there's a current search underway in Glenorrhea. I'm able to advise you that the vehicle of interest that I've just discussed has also been sighted in that area in Glenorrhea on the 14th, Saturday the 14th of February, after 9 p.m. We've also received information from members of the public in that area in Glenorrhea. As a result of that information, we were then arranged a search of the national park and the surrounding areas of the bushland in relation to that information that we received. That search is ongoing, and we have nothing to advise you on at this stage in relation.
Yeah, so you heard they found a car they believe that was linked to the abduction of Chris Bagzarian. They believe that car had cloned number plates. What are cloned number plates? Well, they're like what they sound. It is a fake number plate, but the registration is real. So it's like they took a photo or found the information online, and then they make fake number plates that look very real, and they've got the same letters as somebody else's car. So say they had a black BMW, they'll go find the exact model in the same color, and then they'll just clone it, and they'll put it on the stolen car. It gets them a little bit of time, not forever, but they use these cars to commit crimes. And I was telling you last week, about a year or so ago, in a similar place near Dural, they actually busted an operation that was cloning plates and keeping cars. So people would steal cars, they would clone plates for them, and then they would hide the vehicles. And they were storing them sometimes up to a year or more, sometimes from interstate, and they would just sit on them. Sometimes they would even park them. They might park them in a suburb, and they would just leave them there. And when the time comes to commit a crime, they give the keys to the criminal. Criminal pays the organization for the vehicle, and now they have a vehicle that is it's not untraceable, but it gives them a chance to get away. And it's a big business in organized crime. So the fact that this has popped up in the kidnapping of Chris Bagzarian tells you that operation is still continuing, even though they took a big chunk out of it last year. The sad thing is that, like you heard, they are searching for him in bushland in Sydney. That tells me that that something tells them that he is dead, that he is not alive, and I reckon they have a feeling that after being in Dural and him being tortured, he has been dumped somewhere, which is an awful thing to think about. Here's a photo. There's Chris on the right there. And this is sort of the terrain that they're looking through, all this sort of forested area. So really sad, really, really sad that I hope I'm wrong and they find him alive, but it's not sounding like it. The sort of what the cops are doing tells me that they are searching for a body. And that is really sad because, like we found out last week, he is the wrong guy. He is not the person they wanted to actually abduct. So, yeah, very, very sad. So, that is the update so far. I don't have too much more than that. They've been sort of keeping tight-lipped. Actually, I can show you the car. So they did find that car that was burnt out. There's that car that they torched, and they believe it was linked to the kidnapping. I'll see if I got another. Yeah, there's another photo of it. Here you go. So pretty common. They'll take these vehicles, they will commit the crime, and then they will dump them and torch them. So just like when that lady was kidnapped last year, there was a lady kidnapped last year. They shot and killed her, and then they left her body in the car and they set it alight. It's a tried and true method in organized crime in Australia. They'll take these vehicles, commit a crime, and then burn them. Yeah, he looked like I got another photo if you'd like to see it of him. One that's maybe a bit better than the one that's going around. There's a photo of Chris and his family. And yeah, very, very sad that an 85-year-old man, like you make it to 85, I feel like you should get an award and you should like be left alone to continue your life. So to get to 85 and then for this to happen when he hasn't done anything wrong, he's not involved in organized crime, it's a really sad thing to happen. Gail said exactly what I thought of when Chris was taken. I think I'll always remember that lady. Yeah, I think she was Vietnamese, and she was abducted because of something her husband did, and they ended up just putting her in the car. They dragged her from her own home, chucked her in a car, and shot her, and then put fuel in the car and set it on fire. So that was really brutal, and unfortunately, it's sounding like Chris Bugsarian is. I think they're looking for a body. It's really sad, really sad. Just trying to see if there's any more updates. But I can tell you here that detectives say Chris Bagzarian, along with his family, have no criminal ties. None. They are not involved in the criminal underworld. And they're still not sure why the kidnappers would not let him go. I figure if you get the wrong person, you let him go, but it's not looking like it. So that is your update about Chris. And if I hear any more about the search in the bushland, I'll let you know. But right now, that is your update. That they are no longer looking for a home where he might be held up. They are now searching the open wilderness for him. Kathy said, I have a friend who bought a gorgeous black Camaro Z28 after high school. One night at work, she heard it start up and it was gone in seconds. Was it gone in 60 seconds by any chance? Yeah. So, all right, there we go. We'll go back to Nancy Guthrie now. I just wanted to give you that update about Chris. And it just, the underworld is one thing. You want to kill your adversaries? Sure. But to kill a random guy that has nothing to do with anything is, I don't know. It's putrid. It really is. There's that car on fire too. Before they put it out, it was well alight. Well alight. All right. Let's go back to Nancy Guthrie for a second. So, where are we now? In my title, I say, are we at a stalemate right now with Nancy Guthrie? I think we are. The cops may have more leads to run down. And like they said, 40,000, 50,000 leads came in over the last couple of weeks. But there's not been a lot to show for it. There's not been a lot to show for those 40,000, 50,000 leads. It's, the sort of raids have stopped. We had two, and now there's no more. That we know of. We heard about the lie detectors or the polygraph the other day, and now we haven't heard anything else. And it's it is slow, very slow. It feels like we are walking in molasses right now. It is not a we're not going very fast. I heard someone compare the Nancy Guthrie thing to the Idaho 4 the other day, and someone said, think back to how you felt. during the Idaho 4 during the investigation. And I was like, that's a good point. The Idaho 4 felt very similar to this. It was like, nothing's happening. We got some very little information. The cops weren't giving anything. And it felt like we were going nowhere. Then all of a sudden, we hear about Brian Koberger. We hear that he's been arrested. And everything started to unravel. Maybe it's a good point that we should think about, like, that was a quadruple homicide. Quadruple, like, really brutal. And it took them a couple of weeks to try and track down who had done that. And they used DNA as well. Well, they used some other things too, but they used the clasp on that sheath that they found. Um, we know they have DNA inside of Nancy's home. Maybe that's what we're going to have to do. Maybe it's not going to come, you know, very easily. You can make a joke out of that if you want. Um, but maybe it's just not going to be like that easy. And maybe we're going to have to wait for the DNA. Maybe we're going to have to wait for genetic genealogy. And it may end up being that's the only way this can proceed. What happens to Nancy? I don't know, but you would have to think hope is running out. It's almost been a month. We were told in the first 48 hours that her being missing for 48 hours and not having her medication could be deadly. What is it after a month? Is it still that type of urgency? Or what is the survivability after 4 weeks with no medication, with no checkups, with like, you know, what is going on there? Kelly says yes, but Idaho 4, they were looking for a murder, not a kidnap, and a live missing person. Well, we don't know if she's alive. We could be looking for a murder. Dragon said Nancy Guthrie has two parts: find Nancy and find the perps. I don't think DNA will find Nancy. Well, what is in time though? Is a month? Is that fast enough? Would it have to have been days, not weeks? I guess we don't know right now. Maybe we will find out when we actually find out what happened to her and we find her. But I wonder if it's to actually bring her home alive, would it maybe would have had to have happened very, very quickly. Kim says, I think Nancy has been deceased. I think the rational part of everyone's brain tells you that that seems like the most likely thing. I will tell you, like, we all know there's always that 1% case in true crime where someone has managed to survive and survive for like 9 months or a year and a half and they're alive, even though everything tells you they shouldn't be. It is possible it might happen here, but it's not looking great. Montana says, seems like it is intended to be psychological torture to the family. Yeah, it could be. Dragon said 4 weeks a bit much based on the original statement. I agree. Warner still said, I don't think they will find her by her pacemaker. I'm sure they have been separated. You know, I saw a really good point the other day brought up by an FBI, ex FBI. They said, why on earth did they release that information about the pacemaker and the Bluetooth? They're like, if I was a kidnapper who didn't want to be caught, I would probably remove forcibly that pacemaker and get rid of it. Because if I knew they were searching for it with a Bluetooth sniffer, that's the first thing I would do when I found out through the media. And I was like, that's a really good point. I wonder why they made that public. Because, yeah, if you've got a live hostage victim who might be able to be traced because she has a pacemaker, um, the first thing they're going to do is either harm her or get rid of her. Rachel said, hopefully, if the lab in Florida can't figure it out, they send the DNA to the FBI lab. I think I read something the other day that Othram, they got something sent to them. Don't know what it is though, but it was on a news story. Gail said, I think it can be covered by metal plates or something to cover the signal. A Faraday cage. You would have to use something that would mimic a Faraday cage to stop the signal. Possibly tinfoil. Montana said these reporters are the kind of stupid babbling absolutely every little thing. Yeah, I wonder why that came out, and I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. Betsy said a magnet will probably stop it. Ugh, I don't. That sounds painful. Dragon said Porch Guy was lost in thought about a Faraday cage. Yes, that's what he was doing. He was like, I left me Faraday cage at home. He's like, oh, I normally keep it in my kidnap kit, and I forgot it today. I'll bring it next time. All right, let's have a look. Okay. Okay. Lisbeth said magnets don't stop a pacemaker. They put it in synchronous mode. Okay. Gail said, yeah, Betsy, my dad has to stay away from strong magnets. Don't take him to an MRI. If that's the case, I don't want to think what would happen. Rachel said, I'm guessing behind the scenes they are working on lots of leads. You would hope so, because it seems like a lot of the media have slowed down. Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that all the media are when about 2-3 weeks ago, the updates were coming out like every 15 minutes, half an hour, sometimes every 10 minutes. Now it's like, oh, we did a video like 48 hours ago. And that's sort of the way it is now. The updates are slow and far and few between now. And it's almost like the media has moved on. It's almost like until they get some sort of breaking news, they're sort of done with it. They're just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to keep going with it until we get something bigger. And that's sort of how it feels right now. All right, let me double check here. Yeah, I just want to check Arizona Family. Like, when was their last update on Nancy Guthrie? When was it? Jeez, is it really that far? Their last update on Nancy Guthrie was 3 days ago. That can't be right. Is that right? Yeah. 3 days ago was their last update. So, yeah, a lot of media is sort of just slowly unwinding that wall-to-wall coverage right now. We're not getting it anymore. All right. I don't want to keep blabbing about Nancy Guthrie. I don't want to be one of these people that talks for the sake of talking. And I think we've covered the points that I wanted to cover about her. All right. Let's talk about Mexico or Mexico. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Guadalajara. Let's talk about that because this is really interesting. Really interesting. All right, here we go.
This is getting really scary.
Puerto Vallarta, paradise under attack.
All right, I think we're under attack.
These shocking images of cars covered in flames in the middle of the street and plumes of smoke from burning buildings billowing into the skies of the resort town sent to us by a Scottsdale man on vacation there.
Oh my God.
This video of him narrating feet away from an inferno inside a business showing the violence erupting reportedly at the hands of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel members.
Oh, hear that? That's another car they just blew up.
They're lashing out after their leader, Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, also called El Mencho, was killed by the Mexican army in the state of Jalisco Sunday. Jorge Mendoza Yescas, the Consulate General of Mexico in Arizona, says it's an achievement in the fight against cartels.
Mexico recognized that they acted with the
So there was a military operation and they ended up killing him, El Mencho, in a firefight. And he's dead. Not like fake dead. He's been reported dead a few times over the last 5 to 10 years. They've reported it a few times that he died, but he didn't. This time he's really dead. And this is why the cartel, the new generation cartel, are going ballistic. They are going ballistic. They are lighting fires. They are battling with authorities. There are some videos out there. I cannot play them on this channel. And you can see the good guys, if you want to say it like that, they are being killed, left on the road. Firefights have continued. Some of their guys have been shot and killed. It is a mess. And I was reading about the people who are stuck down there. And I'm going to pronounce this. I'm going to pronounce this wrong, and you guys can all make fun of my Spanish because it's terrible. But it's Puerto Vallarta. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. There's probably a H or a J in there somewhere that's actually a K or an L or an A or a T or something. But they call it PV. PV, there's a lot of tourists, over there right now, and there are so many people, and they're frightened because they're supposed to be on holidays, and they've been told, do not leave your accommodation. But the problem is, a lot of these people were going out to eat, dining locally, getting food. They got a convenience store, and these are like the really big ones. It's called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's OXXO. That's like their big convenience store in the area. But a lot of them have either been burnt down or they're not open because of the violence. So they can't even go get food from like what we would consider like a 7-Eleven. So there's no food, there's no restaurants open. A lot of tourists can't drink the water locally, so they have to use bottled water, but they can't go and get any bottled water because everything is shut, and they're freaking out. And I get it. I would freak out too because I wouldn't. What could you do if the restaurants aren't open, if the supermarkets aren't open, if the convenience stores are not open? What are you supposed to do? So I feel for the tourists and the locals who are suffering through this with the uncertainty. Apparently, there are a few places open who are trying to feed the tourists and other people to keep them, going until everything reopens. But right now, it doesn't seem to be that there is even like a timeline. There doesn't seem to be they're not sure when flights are actually going to go again. So there's people who are supposed to fly out today or tomorrow, and their airlines are saying maybe not until Friday. So a lot of people are going to have to stay another 4 or 5 days to try and get home. Well, the thing is, the water in the area, some of the places work on a pump, and they're worried that the violence and the destroying and the fire might actually damage the pumps. And the pumps are what make the water come out of the tap. So a lot of people are like, they're worried that if that goes out, then they can't even boil water. It's a really messy situation. Yeah, how badly did I mispronounce it? Tell me. Puerto Vallarta? There you go. Thanks. My Spanish is terrible. Marlene said they were shooting at one airport. I think it was Guadalajara. It was the airport they got inside of, not PV. PV's airport was okay. It was pretty sure it was Guadalajara that is the one that got invaded. Snapcrackle Pop said, "Are they protesting?" They're not protesting. They're sort of like they're avenging Elemento. They're going out there and being like, "You killed our boss. You killed our leader," and they're setting things on fire and sort of like a like "F you," and we're going to come and get you, authorities. That type of thing. It's more like a yeah. It's more like a message. Kelly said, "No, what? I don't know whether you're setting me up to say like rude words. Now I'm concerned." Um, your daughter's minor in Spanish. I'm minor in Australian. I can speak English and I can speak Australian. They're the only two languages I speak. Um, Gail said they are being bad because they are. Yeah, it's almost like a retaliation or they're avenging their fallen leader. So they're trying to make a lot of noise and create a lot of damage. So this problem is sort of twofold. You have the people who are stuck in a few different places. It's not just this particular area. It's not just Guadalajara. It's a few other different areas too. Um, then you have the people who have vacations or trips booked to go down there. There's people that are supposed to go tomorrow. There was people that were in the air when all this went down and the planes got turned around and got sent back. So it's a real mess. Now, the last time a leader like this was killed by authorities, there was so you get this sort of initial unrest. But what happens later is actually worse. You get a sort of fight for the territory. You get these people who want to claim the power. So it's like a power struggle. And those people, then there's more fighting. They're fighting between themselves. There's cartel fighting against cartel, and then there's cartel fighting against authorities. So it could get worse. It could get a lot worse, and I hope not. But history tells us when a leader dies, there's always a power grab. Diane said they're more than bad, ruthless and corrupted. Um, this particular one, the New Generation Cartel, they were known as being ultra violent, and they were well known for it. Espion said Montana has always had Spanish speaking helpers from Mexico in the summer, but never in the winter. There you go. Montana facts. Facts with SP Mama. Kelly said a friend of mine was selling their condo um, a couple of years ago, and we're freaking out because the cartel wanted to buy it, and you can't tell them no. I don't know what you do in that situation. Who do you call? I don't think you can call anyone. Hey, Lindy, what's up, my friend? Lindy says, we used to go down to Baja all the time. Live in California, never had a bad experience there years ago. Wouldn't step foot in it now. There you go. Diane said, yeah, they're more than bad. Espion said, my Spanish was 1999 high school Spanish and BB/Victoria's Secret retail on the early 2000s. I best start brushing up. Ping can't speak any of it. I can pretend to and then get it wrong. Gail said, if they give me the money, then it's okay. I guess. If they actually pay you, what are you going to do? Say no out of like some sort of misguided attempt to stand up for people? They'd probably kill you. So yeah, there is a lot of people who don't know what to do. I did hear that in some of the places the army has arrived. There's like the Marines have come in. There's like giant Black Hawk helicopters that are patrolling. So hopefully the authorities can take control of the areas and the violence will die down at least long enough for people to be able to get home. But at this point in time, it is not looking good. I'm trying to find you an update. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, airport updates. So apparently, Mexico has already canceled their morning and afternoon flights on Monday. So don't be surprised if Viva Airways does as well. It seems like there is a lot of like the local flight companies have been canceling. Delta already canceled flights out of the US for tomorrow, and oh, there's a website. Okay, we can have a look. Oh, there's a lot of red. A lot of red. Let's have a look. Cancelled. Viva to Mexico City. Is that it? Yeah, Mexico City. Scheduled. If you go to Mexico City, it looks all right. Guadalajara scheduled. Houston canceled. Edmonton canceled. Minneapolis St. Paul scheduled, but that is Sun Country Airlines. They may cancel it. Fort Worth American Airlines says it's going to happen. If you're going to Saskatoon in Canada, cancelled. United Airlines to Denver is cancelled. So this is departures. This is leaving PV. So if you're heading to any of these places, Winnipeg, Mexico City, Guadalajara, Houston, Edmonton, Mexico City, Saskatoon, LA, Denver, Monterey, SD, San Diego. So a lot of flights already cancelled. Let's keep going. Looks like if you're heading to Phoenix in Arizona, maybe Tijuana is on time or at least booked. But yeah, a lot of flights look like they are turning red. I would be surprised if by morning we don't have more. Did that not change for you guys? There we go. Sorry about that. Here you go. You can see all the flights now. Sorry about that. There you go. You can see all the cancellations coming up. I reckon we're probably going to see more of them by tomorrow. Probably by tomorrow, there's going to be a lot more. So, looks like if you're flying within Mexico, the flights are scheduled. So, if you're heading to Guadalajara or Mexico City, that looks all right. But if you're heading anywhere to the USA, a lot of them have been cancelled. If you're heading anywhere to Canada, a lot of them have been cancelled. So, I don't know what's going to happen in the morning, whether they'll continue, but looks like a bunch of problems. Good night, Snapcrackle. See you, my friend. Marlene said, I hope the US stays away this time. We cannot police the world. That is true. Kim said they just need to get those flights out. Hopefully. Rachel said the whole east coast of the US will be shut down for days. Lots of snow. Yeah, I saw that the first time in 30 years, the entire of New Jersey is got a blizzard. Apparently, New Jersey has never, for every region, had a blizzard at the same time. But apparently, today and this particular winter storm, they do. First time in 30 plus years. Okay. Okay. Kathy said, "Why are they all canceling? Because of the violence, because of the what's going on in Mexico." Here you go. We'll play a bit more.
In both countries. I've seen Mexican police around the street. I have not seen anything other than Mexican police.
Howard Fleischman from Phoenix is also in Puerto Vallarta celebrating his and his wife's birthday in the city they were married.
It's kind of a special place for us. We love Puerto Vallarta. In 40 years, we've never felt unsafe. But it's not business as usual today. It's a whole lot different.
He woke up to smoke Sunday morning, businesses and schools shutting down like the rest of the state. Mexican officials ordering Americans and Canadians vacationing in Jalisco to shelter in place during the retaliation from a very dangerous cartel.
This individual certainly was very dangerous, was the most violent criminal in recent history in Mexico and I think in the rest of the world.
Fleischman is hunkering down in his condo, waiting out the violence. He isn't sure he'll be able to fly back to Phoenix on Tuesday as planned. Airlines canceling flights to and from parts of Mexico. Phoenix Sky Harbor listing several canceled flights to Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, and the state's capital, Guadalajara.
If we see the cartel walking down the streets, then I'm going to get worried. We are defenseless, just totally defenseless.
Very shocking images. And according to the Mexico consulate in Arizona, no civilians have been reported hurt or killed tonight. Arizona Attorney General Chris May saying today that what's going on in Puerto Vallarta shows how critical the fights against the Mexican drug cartels is. Reporting live in studio, Casey Torres, Arizona's Family.
There you go. Really terrible situation. And you should see like some of the videos that came out of the region are just insane. Here, let's go here. What are they saying? Yeah, they even burnt down a pharmacy. And don't know why, but they burnt down an entire pharmacy. What else? Apparently, U.S. authorities provided intelligence to Mexican authorities hunting down El Mencho. So, tourists complain about being stuck in luxury resorts. Well, I don't think you can make fun of them. Yeah, it might be a luxury resort, but apparently all the restaurants and that are not open. They're not serving food. You're stuck in your room. It's not like you can go hang out by the pool. Apparently, more than 20 people are dead. 26 people were killed in the chaos on Sunday. Most of the fatalities occurred within federal and state security forces, which saw 17 agents killed. 8 members of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel were reportedly killed. So it's a little bit of tit for tat. A little bit of some of those people die, some of their people die. 25 people arrested in Jalisco. They're saying 25 people have been arrested in the chaos. 11 were arrested for alleged participation in violent acts. 14 others were arrested for alleged acts of looting or pillaging. There you go. What else we got here? Delta flight bound for Mexico forced to divert. They're saying it was a flight from Detroit, Michigan, heading to PV, and it was forced to divert to Alabama on Sunday. So they ain't getting there. They are not going to get there. Yeah, there's one of the buses. Check that out. This is one of the things they set on fire. Look at that. So a lot of things on fire. Kelly said, not the worst place to be stuck, but still scary. True. Montana said the airlines are not going to want to take their planes in there unless it calms down. They're also not going to want to give refunds. And if they can fly, they will, because they want it. They don't want to give refunds to people. Betsy said there were shells of burnt out vehicles all over. I did see that. Also, air traffic controllers are being affected because the US government is in partial shutdown. Thank you. I didn't know that. That is a good point, that there may be air traffic chaos because of that. Let me check for any more updates for you. What is going on? What is going on down there? A lot of tourists say while they are uncomfortable and not having a great time, a lot of the tourists want to make it really clear that they feel more bad for the locals than they do for themselves, because they understand they can go home. The people who live there, this is their life in reality. This is their world. So I'm seeing a lot of tourists who say, well, while their few days of being uncomfortable, hungry, whatever, it doesn't compare to the poor people who have to, when they go home, these people that live locally will have to continue with the uncertainty whether there'll be more violence or more people being shot. So a lot of the tourists wanted to make that very clear that while they might be having a bit of a whinge, they understand that there's more people that are having a harder time. So apparently some of the grocery stores did reopen this evening, and yeah, so some grocery stores did open to get people food. So there you go. Some places did reopen, but a lot did not. Let's see. Okay. Let me check one other place. Yeah, not a lot of new updates, just a lot of people saying that they're contemplating whether they're going to go on their holidays or not. A lot of people booked into Guadalajara, a lot of people booked into Cancun, a lot of people booked into Mexico City, and they're wondering whether it is safe to go or not. So that would be a hard choice. I hope they make the choice that they are comfortable with. Let's see. Yeah, no new updates tonight. Seems like everyone's sort of calmed down for now. We'll see what happens in the morning. CMP, hey, good to see you. Kathy said, I would think this would affect anyone who trades with Mexico. It might. Missy, hey, I'm so blonde. I'm putting messages in here that I'm supposed to be sending to my daughter in Spain about Mexico. We all do that. Let's see. Diane said they're burning vehicles on every highway, big vehicles that block the road. Yeah, they're trying to do like roadblocks. They're trying to stop the authorities. That's sort of what they're trying to do. I'm just trying to see if I can get you a photo of what it looks like. Let me see. There you go. This is one of the views from earlier today. You could see just how much fire and things that were alight and how much smoke was everywhere. Like there was just so many things set alight that it looked like a bushfire. That's what it looked like. Hey, NM Denim. I suspect with the Mexico happenings, mainstream media will start pulling away from the Nancy Guthrie case. Everything is so sad and heartbreaking. I've seen a lot of media who have sort of stopped updating now. They're sort of just waiting for something else to happen. That's sort of what they're looking for right now. It's sort of being very slow. They're just sort of not doing anything. They're just waiting, and I think that's goes for the majority of the media. I'm just trying to see if there's another update about the cartel. Hold on. We could go here.
Across many states in Mexico are being told to shelter in place until further notice. It's after a cartel leader known as El Mencho was killed by Mexican security forces. Mexico's defense ministry says El Mencho was wounded during a raid in the town of Tapalpa and died while being flown to Mexico City. Violence erupted after his death. Roadblocks were made with burning vehicles in Jalisco and other states. It's a tactic commonly used by cartels to block military operations. We have team coverage tonight, but we begin with Troy Kless, who spoke with passengers who made it out of Mexico after they landed at Bush Airport.
Multiple people who returned from Guadalajara say that they witnessed the cartel-related activity firsthand. They are grateful to be back here in Houston, but say they are thinking of the people who are still dealing with the violence in Mexico. Coming back to Houston, there was a sight stuck on some travelers' minds.
It's not unusual in Mexico. Just didn't think anything of it. Kept going, saw another car on fire. Like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Juliana Perez, one of several people who made it to the Guadalajara airport just in time. Graciela Ruiz Martinez was also on the flight.
El piloto nos avisó que el aeropuerto estaba tomado por los carteles con una voz quebrada. Sentí que ahí acababa porque ya cuando hablan de eso. Tenía mi teléfono inundado de llamadas.
Calls checking on those who witnessed the chaos firsthand, cars in flames along Mexico's streets, bringing some air travel to a halt. A response to the Mexican military killing a high-profile cartel leader, Graciela is grateful to be home.
Me siento.
Yeah, you see all that fire. I could imagine trying to be a tourist and waking up to that in the morning, like just random vehicles on fire. There's the Costco. I'm not sure if the Costco ended up burning down, but a bunch of vehicles were set alight in front of it in the car park. It was yeah, there was actually a really good view. I wish I could show it to you. They had someone on a beach and they were let me look. They're on a beach and you could just see all the smoke filtering out to the ocean. Let me see if I can find that photo. I don't know if it's this one here. This one? I think we looked at that one. There was a whole bunch of them. Let's go up here. There you go. You can see just like all the fires and then it drifts over and it's just tons of smoke in the air. Just trying to find a wider view. There you go. There's another one. You can see like all the smoke being picked up and moved with the wind and atmosphere. There was also things going around from authorities saying because of what they were burning, a lot of it could be considered toxic. So the smoke is not like burning wood or something like that. It's like burning tires, plastic, metal, fuel, batteries, and the smoke, if you inhale it, could be quite detrimental to you. Hey, truth be told, good to see you. Kathy said, according to Google, US gets a lot of car parts from Mexico. They do, but it's up near the border. The car parts that are made are just south of the Mexico border, and what they do is they do some of it in Mexico and then send it to the US, and then they have parts that are made in the US, and then they put it together. So that it's not here. It's more further north. Denim said, what about human nature makes people think that making a bad situation worse is going to help? Don't like something, riot and destroy. Well, that's sort of what the cartel does. Hey, Victoria Burgess, how are you? I am new here. Did this just happen today? It did. It happened today. And it, yes. So it happened earlier today. And the poor people in Mexico are having to put up with it. Here, I'll try and find another one for you so you guys and girls can catch up. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go.
The Mexican army says it has killed the leader of the country's most powerful drug cartel. Nemesio Oseguera, known as El Mencho, was the head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. Mexico says the United States helped provide information for the military operation that led to his death. Previously, the US offered a reward of more than $21 million for information leading to arrest. Well, multiple vehicles have now been set on fire in the state of Jalisco following the operation. The cartel's home state is known for trafficking huge quantities of fentanyl and other drugs into the United States. Well, I'm joined by transnational crime and terrorism expert.
Yeah, I'll stop it there for you. There was a bit of a look at it. I'll see if they've got any good local footage. There you go. Another car burnt out just in the random middle of the road. One of the convenience stores that were burned down. This is what was causing a lot of trouble for people, because sometimes this was the closest store for people in their resorts or their Airbnb or their hotel. And this is where they would sort of go to get bottled water or snacks and food. And when they burn these down, there's nowhere else to go. There you go, a bus and a trailer that were set alight on the road. And from what I understand, the cartel, they were actually going up to these vehicles and they were telling people to go. They were like, "Hey, just go. We're gonna burn this thing. We don't want to hurt you, but you need to leave." So they were kicking people out of the vehicles and then setting them alight. So they weren't trying to hurt tourists or locals. They were just trying to burn things and hurt the authorities. So it wasn't actually directed at locals or the tourists. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. If more people did that, we'd have a much larger number under my name, which would be very cool. I would appreciate it. Let's see. Kelly said, I was on Facebook earlier and tons of people down in Mexico have been sharing videos, pics, and updates. Some of them are too graphic to show, unfortunately. Betsy said, how did they get him? Where was he? I don't think we fully know. Somewhere they did name the town, but apparently the intelligence came from the US. The US government gave it. Where was the town that they actually got him? So they're saying he was wounded in an operation to capture him in Jalisco. So somewhere in that area, which is the same place where all the fire and gunfights and things like that. Very similar area. It is the same area. So yeah, we don't know yet, but they're saying that something led them to where he was holed up, and they were able to. They ended up shooting and killing him during a firefight. So he is no longer alive. There was a video going around, and I don't know if it's a rumor, an AI video, but there was a video that went around earlier today that purportedly showed the son of El Mencho was captured by authorities. I don't know if it's real. That's why I didn't show it. But it was a guy in the back of a Black Hawk sitting on the floor, and a officer had him by the scruff of the neck, and he was handcuffed behind his back, and they had him pushed onto the floor. The hell's going on? Do you guys hear that? It was like this crazy siren. It was really weird though. What is this? I'm just trying to find out if there's a reason that siren was going. No, I don't see anything. Okay. I don't know, but there was I live near a main road. We hear sirens all the time, but that was a weird one. Like it was a really weird frequency and noise. So I don't know if that was a cop or no, it was a siren, either a cop, ambulance, something like that. Lisbeth said, do they fear retaliations in the US for their intelligence? Nah, they'll be all right. Denim said, I am not too uneasy when we have to go, but not comfortable in El Paso. Okay. I mean, I guess it is a border, sort of a border city. Lisbeth said, do they fear? No, I don't think they do. Betsy said, I also heard about the sun. Yeah, there was a video that went around. I just don't know if it's true or not. I'm not sure. Here, intro sun captured. I'll see if it's I'll see if I can find the video or not. Yeah, I got a screen grab that I can show you. This was part of the video that it's a little pixely. This was the video that was going around, and you can see the guy without a shirt, his head down, and then there was an officer with a weapon next to him, and they're on a Black Hawk helicopter. I know it's a little hard to make out, unfortunately, but it is a guy with his head down. That's the video I saw earlier today. I have no idea if it's real or not. I'm trying to see if I can find confirmation. Yeah, claims of El Mentro's son being captured began to do the rounds after the feared drug lord was killed. They say claims rose that his son was captured by Mexican military and taken for interrogation. An alleged video was also shared widely online showing the inside of a helicopter. Yes, actually, I can show you the video. So this is the video here. And you see the helicopter. And then they look back and there's a guy being held. Don't know if it's from a different event. Don't know if it happened at another time. It could be an old. So what happens when these big events happen? There's people who just put out these videos that happened like 5 years ago, think that everyone forgot that it happened, and then it starts doing the rounds again. So it's possible that it's a old video. It doesn't look right. There's things about the video that sort of seem off. Yeah. But anyway, that was what was doing the rounds. No idea if it's real. It's an old video. I would have thought if his son was captured, it would have been huge news. CMP said El Paso is the safest city in the USA. Juarez is the 5th most dangerous in the world. Kathy said El Mencho sounds like a silly name in a movie. You tell that to El Mencho, and you tell him you think it's a silly name. Oh, you can't anymore because he's dead, but if he was alive, don't know if he would have liked that. Montana said, think his nickname is where he's from. I think so. Do you know there's a guy called El Yogurt? There is a guy called El Yogurt, and he's like a cartel member. I'm not joking. El Yogurt. There is, yeah. So they're saying that it's possible this guy, El Yogurt, might end up being the person who takes over the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. I don't know if that's a real thing, but apparently he is a high up person within the cartel. He runs like their paramilitary section of the cartel. There's a photo of him there. But he is called El Yogurt. And no one knows what the story is behind it. No one knows why he's called that. So Gail said, does he get Yogi for short? He might. Kim says maybe he likes yogurt. I don't know. No one's really said what or why he has the name. But apparently he runs a section called like there's like a section called something like yogurt something. What's it called? It's called like the yogurt division or something. Uh, uh, um, Operativa yogurt. So it's like their paramilitary sort of special forces of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. It's sort of like, yeah, they're special forces or like their most severe warriors. And Mr. El Yogurt is their leader. Drowns people in dairy products? Maybe. Kathy said, makes me think of El Chapo. El Chapo was a different guy. He's in jail now. Chipmunk says, guy called Yogurt, I'm running and hiding my face. There he is. Mr. Yogurt is right there. His name is Abram Jesus Ambres Cano or Cano. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too. Let me see if I can find another photo of him. Yeah, he's wanted too. Mr. Yogurt is wanted. Here's his sort of wanted page for him, and they're saying this guy could possibly be the new leader of the CJNG. NM Dennis says the Yogurt Armed Group is made up of Mexicans and former Colombian military personnel with expertise in handling high-powered weapons and war tactics. Yeah, it's sort of like their special forces division. Kelly said that cartel is like the second largest one in Mexico. I think Sinaloa cartel is close in size. I thought Sinaloa is bigger, and this particular one is sort of like the second. I'm pretty sure anyway. I don't know. They all have different like domains and territory, and back when Pablo Escobar was killed, there was a breakup of a bunch of the territory in Mexico, and it got broken up between smaller cartels, and these smaller cartels ended up taking over different regions. So there was like one in the north, one in the east, one in the west. There was one in the southwest. There's all these different cartels that splintered away and took up territory. Montana says dangerous guys. Mr. Yogurt coming to a firefight near you, maybe. He was born March 17, 1997. He began his career in the cartel world, and apparently he worked for an anti-CJNG alliance. Interesting. And then apparently in 2002, he switched sides and began working for the CJNG. There you go. Yeah, Mr. Yogurt. We'll have to wait and see if he takes over the cartel or not. Chipmunk says Kefa and Greek yogurt are their rivals. Maybe that's the slang name for their cocaine. El Guapo. Okay. El Chapo is a different. He's actually a big drug lord. El Chapo was arrested like a number of years ago, and he is now in custody. I think he's in United States custody. There you go. There's El Chapo. Broke out of prison like twice in Mexico. Ended up getting taken into American custody, and now I think he's in America. NM Denim said, in the internal reshuffle of the CJNG after the fall of El Mencho, one name has begun to gain prominence in intelligence. Yeah, Mr. El Yogurt. There you go. I tell ya, I don't tell you lies. Chipmunk said, great, now I want yogurt. Gail said, my son hasn't seen any of the news, so I asked if he would like to go to Mexico. He said yes until I told him what was happening. Now he doesn't want to go. Hey, truth be told, good to see you. All right. Who is emailing me? Okay. Okay. Hey, Colleen, how are you? Good to see you. Kim said people just go eat yogurt and leave him alone. Maybe. Maybe that's how he does it. All right, let's go. We'll just play the rest of this little video.
And all its cabinet before the election of 2024 and today. This has been a primary task of the United States government. That's why they help the Mexican military.
Guadalupe, it's led to violence on the streets. What's happening and why is that happening?
Well, this is happening because that's part of a kingpin strategy. When you go and you behead a cartel or a criminal organization, there is a fight for the control of the leadership of this group. And this group was fighting the control of territory or the so-called drug trafficking plazas or plazas where other criminal activities take place. And so other groups are trying to establish control over that territory. That is the mainstream explanation of why after the capture of the leadership of these criminal groups, you have immediately very high levels of violence.
Yeah, like she's saying, there was a leader of a cartel who ended up being killed. I think it was about 10 years ago, not too far from PV. And the after effects of that one was a really violent power struggle. And they ended up, went on for months. And so one guy would grab power, and then the other people who wanted it would kill him. And then someone else would, gain control, and then the rest of them would kill that guy. And it just kept going on and on and on. And the power struggle was more violent than the killing of the original leader. So that's, I think, a lot of people right now are worried that the next step in this is an increase in violence while someone takes the reins of the CJNG. So we'll have to see, like, if tomorrow comes and the violence and the fire calms down and then that continues for a while, then we'll know that it sort of sorted itself out. But if it doesn't and the violence escalates, well, then we've got a problem. So we'll have only time. The only thing we're ever going to find out is from time. So we're going to have to just wait and see what they want to do. But you can kill the leader of the cartel. It is like a hydra. As soon as you cut the head off, another one is there. So it's very difficult to quash a cartel because there's always someone being primed to take a leadership role. And that's the problem with it, especially with the CJNG. Their manpower is very impressive. They have a lot of people, and they just won't like roll over and die because El Mencho is gone. Someone else will assume the leadership and they'll go back to work, and the new leader will want to assert themselves, and they will do it very publicly and make sure that everyone follows them. So I would expect to see a lot of violence. Colleen said, I want a time machine. I want to go back to the 50s and stress a lot less. This world is nutso. It is a bit nutso. Kathy said 81 viewers, but only 56 likes. I think someone said it was 80 likes. You said 88 likes. Your numbers don't make any sense, my friend. You're a bit all over the shop. Whatever it is, if you can hit that like button, I would appreciate it. It would help ping out a lot and helps the channel out. There you go. See, Gayla knows. She has the correct number. Yeah. All right. All right. What else we got? I want to see what else I got on my list of. We had an Amber Alert yesterday for a 3-year-old girl, and I think she ended up being found, which is great news anytime we have an Amber Alert. Let me see if this is the update that I'm looking for. Yeah.
On your Sunday morning,
Oh,
get to a lot
that
more.
didn't work.
I want to get right to that breaking news we first told you about a minute ago. A little girl reported missing yesterday. You probably got that Amber Alert. She has been found safe. Avondale police says she was last seen Friday night at her home, but then in just the last hour, we learned she was found at a QT.
Yeah, that Amber Alert was sent out yesterday afternoon. If you got the alert on your phone, you've certainly been kind of following this case. So here's what we know. Again, we are so glad to report that that little girl is okay. 3-year-old Kaylani Rogers, she was found at this QT near 27th Avenue and Thomas Road this morning. So not close to where she was last seen at her house. A lieutenant on scene told our crews there the little girl is safe and is being taken back to Avondale to be reunited with her parents.
We now have confirmation that the suspect who was accused of taking the little girl was taken into police custody at that QT. She's been identified as 23-year-old Mariana Noriega. Police say she took Kaylani, then was spotted at a business in Maricopa yesterday before being found at the QT this morning. So I was just kind of posting something on Facebook about this. Someone, asked about the suspect. So that's the newest information into our newsroom. We know she's
What a psycho. You come across a little 3-year-old toddler and you're like, yes, I would like to have one of those. And she just took the little baby and decided, hey, you are now my child. And it only took about 24 hours for them to be picked up. But that could have been a lot worse if she left the area, if she had decided to run across state lines. It could have been very different. So it's very lucky that Kilani was found within 24 hours. It is a great chat. NM Dennis said, found you tonight. Likes and subscribe. Thank you very much. I hope this channel where language stays clean, so many are just foul. You may be severely disappointed. Gail said, sometimes we are naughty, but not that much. Depends what day you get ping and how upset I am. If I'm really upset, there's sometimes swearing. If it's a normal day, then there's no swearing. It depends. 95% of the time there is none. And then if I get really ticked off, sometimes there is. Kelly said, how did she take her so late at night though? I don't know. Let's look it up. Kalani. Because last night when the Amber Alert came out, I was watching it and it basically said there was just a woman called Morena that was known to her or something. Hold on. No, that's not it. All right, let me see. Amber Alert canceled for 3-year-old Kalani Rogers. Yep, we know that. She was found safe and in good health at a quick trip. So if people are asking what a QT is, it is a quick trip. All right. Authorities say Kalani Rogers has been found safe and sound in good health. The suspect, Marina Noriega, is in custody. Okay. But how did she know the girl? Okay, it doesn't say. It doesn't say how she got the little girl, but the people at the quick trip or whatever it is, they recognize the little girl as being the Amber Alert from the day before. There she is on the surveillance video at the QT, and these staff behind the counter recognize that this little girl was an Amber Alert, and apparently another customer blocked in her truck to stop her from leaving the location until law enforcement could arrive. So well done to the staff at that QT, and well done to the customer who thought very quickly and pulled their truck in behind her truck so she couldn't get out. That is really clever. Chipmunk said she looks like a babysitter. She's quite young. Gail said, "What only word I would sometimes say out loud? What only word I would time out someone for is the C word." Ah, okay. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Let's look up this woman, Marina Noriega. All right, why did she take the little girl? That's what we want to know. She was reported missing on Friday. They won't even give the charges. Apparently, Phoenix PD won't even say to the media what charges that girl is going to be charged with. Yeah, here. Authorities confirmed that Noriega is not a family member to Kehlani. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it just doesn't tell us why. But I'll give you a photo of her. There's the little girl on the left, and there's Noriega on the right. Maybe it was a babysitter, someone minding the child for the mum, and just took off with the kid. Yeah, I think this woman looks like she might be in her mid-20s or early 30s, at least to me. I think she looks like, yeah, mid-20s, early 30s. The little girl, very cute little girl, look at that hair. She definitely looks 3. Yeah. No one's responsible for me. Nope. I'm responsible for me, and even then, that doesn't always work. All right. Kalani, yeah, we'll have to wait and see because they are not telling us how that little girl was taken. I'm trying to just see if there's anyone reporting it. So she was reported missing from her home on the night of Friday. It almost does sound like a babysitter, right? Like the mum maybe had the little girl in daycare during the day, and maybe when the mum got home at night, the little girl was gone. That might fit because she was missing from her home. And why would this Mariana Noriega have any access to the child in the evening? So maybe she was looking after the kid and just took off with her before mum got home. Kelly said the original report on the local news said the child was last seen at home at like 11:30 p.m. at night and was wearing PJs. Never said how she was taken. It was strange. It almost seems like they asked her to look after the kid, and then yeah, when mum got home, she wasn't there. That might be how it happened. That is a huge breach of trust. That mum is going to have trust issues forever with anyone else. All right. Do we have anything else? I think we're almost done. Let me have a look. I think we're done for this Sunday night. I think we're done. So I'm sorry about yesterday. I had lunch with my in-laws and I had to go do that. Otherwise they get mad if I don't go and visit them every so often. They think I don't love them and I'm ignoring them. Kathy said I had banana bread earlier gifted by a church member. That's nice of the church member. All right. Hey, I love you all. We're going to be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. So you know what happens on Monday? All hell breaks loose in the world of true crime because everything you've ever following for the last week gets a big update on Monday because nothing happens over the weekend. We'll be back on Monday. There'll be a million things to talk about. Hopefully, is tomorrow the day that Nancy Guthrie is found? Tell me in the comments, is it? Is tomorrow the day? It might be. Denim says you better visit mother-in-law. Yeah, I did. They were together. True said, thankful the little girl was found safe and returned to her mama. I know. Me too. I will. Colleen says, yep, I will. Thank you. Thanks for making the live. I appreciate it. All the people who make the lives. I appreciate all of you. Hey, have a great night out there. I hope all the people in Mexico have a better day tomorrow. And tomorrow is not as mental as today, but we'll be back tomorrow night, okay? All right. Love you all. Good night. Bye.